Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of The Outer Worlds, Peril and Gorgon. And is it difficult to pronounce? Because I think I just didn't pronounce it properly. Peril and Gorgon. It is a little bit, tongue twisty, isn't it? It is a weird, after I think about it. It's clearly, I think the title is clearly supposed to be like a jab at, let's take them all. Ooh, we got more things over here. Ordnance control helmet. That is bad. Wait a minute. Lockpicking max? What is lock... Oh, max distance. Right. I'm sorry. Hiccups as well. We don't need to worry about distance, because I don't... This is not a thief kind of style game. You usually only lockpick when you're good to go. Yeah, the title of the DLC is really... I think it is meant to be like a... Felix keeps talking about having a narrator and stuff like that. I think that's what that is. This is like a novella sort of situation. This is like one of those the hollow mags or whatever they call it. And no, Saltuna in brine. Ugh, that is the grossest. My God. I think I've seen that item before, and I think I might have said this as well because I mean, oh man, the invisible walls are very, very distracting all the time. But salt tuna in brine, is tuna put in brine for, like real world stuff? I wanted to open the map because we need to go over there, and we're in the wrong spot. Well, we explored this already, so...
I don't know if anybody could live in a place like this. Best they could do is just exist.
What happened to all these people?
I don't know what they mean. More invisible walls. Maybe. I don't know what they mean. I mean, there's just marauders. The marauders are not people. That is very important. As I said before, the game doesn't work if you think of that. If you're like, well, the people are just marauders now. Here we are, Office of Creative Incubation. But the people are also around. There's some bodies and stuff. Fast travel location discovered, yes. I think there's some bodies. The miners existed. Combat drone. Now, if the game decides to go into the direction of, well, these people all became marauders, then sure, whatever.
Close call. I thought I knew the OCI backwards and forwards. The marauders got a way of finding every nook and cranny on this rock. OCI. Fancy joint. Smells like Wentworth's and leather. A real slice of Byzantium. You don't set that up unless you're planning something big. Adrena time? Sure. But something tells me there's more to the story. Got a hunch to follow up on near the old mines. I'm leaving this here, in case I gotta come back.
So we've been to the old mines already. I assume we've been to the old mines already, because that's the abandoned mines over there. And we've been to Virgil's research site. And we've been to the accident. I don't think we saw anything incriminating. I mean, apart from the rest of the stuff that's already pretty incriminating.
Initiating ocular measurement.
I have the preserved eye over here.
Measurement complete. Ocular identification complete. Welcome, Clarence Mostly. Access granted. Welcome to the Office of Creative Incubation.
And now is a good time for me to start using the shotgun, potentially. Because, close quarters and all that. And I can't trust my companions. No enemies, though. No, plenty of enemies. I should have looked at the things. I also leveled up, which is fantastic, because that means my lockpicking is going to be increased. And we have another perk point that... No, we don't have another perk point. It's only every 2 levels, I believe. And we also don't need it, because basically there are not that many good perks. Apart from, perks that help you play the game properly, which I don't. As you might have noticed already, I never use my companion's abilities. Mostly because I'm not sure how to do that. There's the buttons Z, X, C, and V, which are very close to the WASD that I use to move around. My problem is I have no idea what those mean, and I also have no reason to know what those mean, because things work out. Like, we do the shooting and killing. he says as I get up.
Mr. Thompson told me 100 times the cannery couldn't afford spare parts for Bess. All while Spacer's choice was building this?
Parvati, that is a reaction that you would have if you didn't see the rest of the game that we saw. Yes. Yes, you were being shafted properly, but, like, I thought that was obvious. Sentry Saber Mark III. There's a cool-looking robot over here that got killed. Yeah. Edgewater is, It's a pivotal... It's not pivotal, but it's, like, fundamental that it is the first area of the game, because it just sets the tone for how corrupt everybody is and how unfairly the workers are treated. And even without the obvious stories in there of, like, you got killed, your family has to pay. You got killed in the line of work, I should say. But even without those, the story would still be the same thing. I think arriving at Byzantium is really where you get where the game is going. I think that's the climax of that sort of you know, the theme for the game, I suppose. It's arriving at Byzantium. It's interesting that there's that one mission. Got some things up in here. Not that we need them or anything, but nothing important. I think there's one mission where you can choose to... I'm not really sure. There's that mission of... Trying to think about Byzantium here. There's that lady outside that wants to get to the lottery. What was it called? It was like a... I don't remember what it was, but like... retirement, not lottery. Retirement. She wants to go to the retirement land. And she has some really, really shady missions in there. And she definitely... She's just a speaker. She's a speaker for the people of Byzantium. She comes across as a... like... the whole critique in a single character. That's her. That's that lady. And of course, the retirement is also very much a summation of the themes of Byzantium in the whole game, really. What is that? It's a ring on top of what? A toss ball card. Huh. Like, these mean nothing, unfortunately. But it's kind of interesting. It adds... These mean nothing because, like, it's not immediately obvious what's going on. But maybe if we find something later on and learn about who collects tossball cards and wants to marry all the players or something? I don't know. Standard Trooper Armored Gold. I'll take that. Let's see what this computer has for us. Receptionist desk. Terminal access. McKay W. Messages. Thank you for using Gimsy, your employer-sanctioned messaging system. Yes. From somebody over here, from Goodfellow L, McKay W. Subject, reception procedure and protocol. McKay, after some deliberation, I've decided to update your standard procedure and protocol while you operate the front desk. Commit the following to memory. Do greet visitors and workers with a smile. Do mention Spacer's Choice brand products and services in your daily greetings. Do monitor and report extended lavatory breaks. Don't mention our surveillance and security system to arriving visitors. Don't talk about, quote, the incident, unquote. Don't let any auditors in the upper floor under any circumstances. Failure to adhere to protocol number 6, which is the auditor's thing, will result in a demerit on your permanent record. I don't mean to be harsh with you, McKay. You're part of our family, too. Regards, Lawrence Goodfellow, Management. Yeah, it's part of the family for sure. So we got a door lock over here. Sure, it doesn't matter. We can open anything. We're powerful and amazing and beautiful.
They got one for Edgewater. Oh, it's just Saltuna. Come on, we got a volcano too.
Yeah.
The Spacer's chosen. Lousiest team that ever did swing a tossball stick.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about Saltuna. I don't know what you're looking at, but are we in a museum or something right now? So we came in through this door. I went to the wrong place, clearly. And now we have some doors. Adrena time. That looks like guns to me.
Keep your aim steady and your trigger finger at the ready. Adrena time brings out the hero in you.
Show your boss that you are prime, because you take Adrena time.
Wow. So, man, that is... advertisements for you to, you know, show your boss that you're good.
Proudly located in the bloodstream of the entire Spacers' chosen tossball team. Adrenatime, putting the performance in performance-enhancing drugs.
Show your boss that you are prime, because you take Adrenatime.
Actually, that's a really interesting thing. Performance-enhancing drugs are a problem in sports, but the reason why it's a problem is not as contentious, or is much more contentious an issue than whether performance-enhancing drugs are a problem or not. Because different people will think of different things. In my opinion, I believe performance-enhancing drugs are bad, not necessarily because of health issues, but also because of health issues, obviously. But, you know, you can have performance-enhancing drugs that don't cause you issues, and they're still a problem. They don't cause you health issues, I should say, and they're still a problem. And the reason why I think performance-enhancing drugs are a problem in, you know, I'm talking real life here, in sports, is that it stops being a sport where you compete to see who's the best at something, or who's the strongest, or who's the fastest, or just, you know, strategies. There's a lot of different sports, right? Or maybe who's the luckiest. And it shifts that focus of the sport more towards who has the most money. And that's why you see, for example, in cycling, like, it's inevitable. It didn't always happen. I'm talking professional cycling. It didn't always happen, but it happens for the last 30 years. It has happened that they can't have bicycles that are too light. They can't have different type of positioning in their bicycles, and they can't there's certain things that riders can spend a lot of money on the immediate, like, the immediate thing is just spending money on the bike, right? Really, just having some really, really high-tech bike that costs $1 million, and then somebody else doesn't have much money and can compete with, you know, just because of the bike, the weight of the bike makes such a huge difference. So it's the same thing for in like racing as well, and, you know, motorsports, I should say. Not all categories of motorsports are limited for the amount of money, or not really about the money, but about the regulations that you can use, because there's just so many ways where the rich can have an edge on sports. And also it has to do with the history of sports as well for us humans, which is, you know, it tends to be a thing, not all sports, but a lot of sports tend to be a thing more of the working class and people who with fewer means, for a variety of reasons, depending on the societies. But in a world like the world of the Outer Worlds, that is a mouthful right there, you could definitely see them just making sports about who has the most money, because, you know, yeah, that is the performance-enhancing drugs. I have the most money to spend on Adrenatime, even into making... Wait a minute, didn't Alex say that Spacer's Choice was terrible at throwing toss balls? But still, you know, they can make a whole... Maybe the competition has better meteors that research drugs, because that's clearly what they did.
Don't let sleep rob you of your life. Cut your resting hours in half and double your productivity with Adrenatime.
Show your boss
Yes.
that you are prime.
That's a really cool... I really like these things in real life and in the game. Okay, so that was... it's not some sort of museum or anything. They kind of made me think that this was going to be some sort of museum. I can go in there and steal all the things. Oh, yeah. What is it? Light machine gun. Okay. What is this thing? Perfect game. That is a unique weapon. I think. It is level 25. It adds stagger. Staring at the weapon long enough, you'd swear you can hear a roar of a stadium crowd cheering you on. Hungry for more action. Who are you to disappoint your fans? Mm-hmm. And then we have this one, doesn't have anything for us. It has gourmet saltuna filet. That's good for them, I suppose. Maybe. I don't know. You probably should buy them by... Oh, there's another one over here. Champion tossball stick. That's the same as we keep finding, I think. Yeah. It is very high level, though. It's pristine as well, so yay for that. Pristine, I mean, yes, it is pristine, but rather it's double the price. What is this? Energy canister. Is that a ammo thing? What is this as well? It's just a flywheel. It's the first time the game does that. Flywheel is junk that you find elsewhere in loot and whatnot. And they decided to put one over there and let you pick it. Why did they do that? I wonder. Why didn't they do that before, to be honest? I think it is the first time. And we got a piano that plays itself. Not the first one we see by any stretch. That is a lovely painting. Is that this DLC's painting? I think no. I don't recognize the water fountains or any of the houses for that matter. So we're going up for the second floor. Floor 2. Okay, nothing back there. Actually, there is a third floor. But we can't access it from here. Maybe getting into the more luxurious parts of this place. There's an axe on a door. Oh. There's a wall. That was blown up. Is this like a vault of a bank? What? Oh, hi. Right. Y'all gonna be all right?
We made it.
So far. Good job, Felix. So there's marauders in here as well. I guess we know what those little dots on the radar are. The radar are. That is the best kind of radar.
You're fast.
But only when it matters. What do we have? Terminal access welcome messages. Thank you. On the latest. So this is from mostly to Goodfellow. On the latest test results from Human Inquiry with some additional commentary. Mr. Lawrence Goodfellow, fortuitously, I have had the opportunity to review the latest test results from Human Inquiry. I agree with you and the committee's general assessment that these test results are unacceptable. The latest experimental sample of adrenatime demonstrates a 15 out of 17 possible symptoms in my rubric of dangerous, lethal, or otherwise high-risk side effects. I have sent a full report to your desk, the abstract of which is as follows. Adrenatime in its current state fails to meet this project's standards. By my calculations, Adrenatime users trade short-term improvements in productivity for long-term losses in productivity. Especially dead workers are unproductive workers. Whenever a calculation produces an unforeseen result, it is prudent to take a look at one's numbers. Incorrect numbers lead to flawed calculations. If the HIA's calculations are sound, then their numbers, that is to say the drugs provided by chem labs, must be flawed. Your esteemed colleague, Clarence Mosley. That's the person whose eye we have. Further analysis, there's more things on the fundamental problem undermining our operations with, well, I think we know what the fundamental problem here is. Anyway, with additional suggestions, Mr. Lawrence Goodfellow, you have yet received your... Or you have not, I have not received yet your correspondence regarding the previous letter. I can only assume that you are still to deploy a parochial colloquialism, chewing over my commentary. Pardon the expression. That is another way of saying that. I have, or excuse my French, I suppose. Maybe. No, not really. That's when you're swearing. I have several additional insights, which I have collated into an itemized list and sent to your secretary. Here is my summary. I believe the root of the problem lies in the chem lab. As I mentioned in my previous letter, incorrect numbers lead to flawed calculations. The problem must therefore be found in Dr. Jasper Lowe, I believe, and his stewardship of the chem lab. Dr. Lowe is a notoriously lackadaisical and careless manager, and pardon my language, a poor scientist. Chem Lab must provide a HIA with a safe, high-quality, carefully refined drug with which to conduct tests. This slapdash, artless, high-risk formula Chem Lab has been delivering to HIA can only result in unacceptable test results. I understand that safety and high-quality developments are often antithetical to the corporate strategy of Spacer's choice. Oh boy. But in my life I have found that the perspective of an outsider can be helpful. Oh, I thought I might be. I was gonna say you're gonna be fired if you talk dangerous stuff like that. How do you say that? You should strive for safety and high quality. Awaiting your response. And encouraging words on the nature and practice of leadership with additional insights. This is still from Mostly. Mr. Lawrence Goodfellow, your response to my previous 2 letters are conspicuous by their absence. I was gonna say, did Lawrence reply? Anyway, based on my analysis of your personality type, dietary habits, patterns of speech, and mode of dress, I must conclude with reasonable certainty that your silence stems from trepidation and anxiety. For a moment there, I thought they were going to make a comment on data-driven capitalism or something, which is not the purview of this game. Although it's always worth pointing out because you know it makes the commentary at least a little bit more relevant. Anyway, if I presume to offer you some advice cultivated after years of living in Byzantium, may I suggest that your anxiety stems merely from ignorance? Ignorance is the easiest of vices to rectify, and rectifies only learning, or requires rather, only learning and heeding the advice of one's betters. The success and failure of any project depends on the readiness of its constituent staff to perform their mandated duties. Scientists perform experiments, researchers research, managers manage. When one of these roles acts outside of its limitations, chaos is introduced into the system, and you wouldn't want that. We are, after all, they all say like law and stuff. That's the subtext there. Anyway, takes because law-abiding citizens, and no, that's not what that means. What they say, law-abiding citizens is just a common expression. What do they say? Law permitting? No. They say it's stuff like, oh, law forbid this or something. You know what I mean? They treat it like God. That's the thing. You know what I mean? It has shown up. It has happened in this DLC enough for you to know what it is, even if you didn't play or forgot about the main game. Anyway, take heart. Writes Mostly here. You need not fear the burden of management. The secret of good leadership is strong oversight combined with careful, fastidious, numerically driven, and scientifically supported management. The turbulence experienced by this project is emphatically not the fault of the OCI. Is that self-contradictory? No, it is not. Okay, yeah, because if it were self-contradictory, it would sort of undermine a little bit, because yes, the secret of good leadership is the opposite of what is being said over here. The delegation or delegating things is how you lead. A good leader will delegate and know how to delegate, and that is going to be at the center of leadership, rather than oversight, because that is, you're not really leading, you're just using people as machines. However, it is and I realize some people might disagree profoundly with me, and you're wrong if you think if you disagree with me. And I know you might be a boss. You might be watching this video and be a boss of a bunch of employees. If you're my boss, you're watching this video and you are well, it's not a bunch of employees, but still, you disagree with me, because my boss disagrees with me on this, and he's wrong. Anyway, however, it is the role and duty of the OCI to fix these problems. Ours is the only department capable of righting the ship of innovation in the waters of chaos. With paternal affection, obviously, because we're all a big family, Clarence Mostly. No, wait, that was 2 Clarence. That was Lawrence. No, that was Clarence Mostly. 2 Lawrence Goodfellow or something. More computers. The best idea since pre-sliced bread. Space destroys property. Okay, yeah, let's see what the messages are over here from it's better to read over here because I can't easily read that. So this is from Cerebral Committee to the Department of Strategic Branding. The OCI Cerebral Committee has hereby decided by unanimous vote that the recent test results from Human Inquiry and Auditing, that's what HIA stands for, are unacceptable, untenable, and unsatisfactory, with the Oxford comma, which is the correct way of saying this as well. This message is an informal expression of our dissatisfaction, which will be formally declared by memorandum in the near future. While the committee recognizes the marketing potential of insomnia and chemical dependency, the remaining side effects described in HIA's latest report are incompatible with the OCI's vision of the Adrenatime product. Corporate auditors will expect to see a product that dramatically improves the long-term productivity of Spacer's Choice workers by reducing the need for rest and mitigating the effects of long-term melancholia. The product delivered to HIA, melancholia here standing in for depression, even though it's probably just like meant to be an euphemism, because it's not the same thing, obviously. But anyway, the product delivered to HIA induces psychosis, violent behavior, paranoia, and alarmingly, disobedience. That's the worst part. The OCI cannot accept a product that transforms long-term users into dissidents. The damage to our corporate image will inevitably benefit our rivals at Auntie Cleo. How about the other one over here? To my colleagues in the OCI Cerebral Committee, I share... This is from Goodfellow to the Cerebral Committee. I share your concerns, but not your alarm. In times like these, I encourage you to recall a passage from our Spacer Choice user manual. The failure of subordinates must never become the failure of leadership. Which goes hand in hand with the thing that the text that we read on the other machine, the last text that we read. The meaning is simplicity itself. HIA has failed to deliver acceptable results because they have failed to perform their professional obligations. My esteemed colleagues, you and I possess a matter of law-given qualifications, but we have not been relegated to lab coat work. You and I possess a number of law-given qualifications. I'm sorry, I misread that. Let me reiterate, we are not tube test... The other way around. We are not test tube jockeys. We are leaders. HIA's purpose is to deliver test results, or our purpose is to deliver a quarterly report. I'd like you to reach out to Miriam Kumara at Strategic Branding, have her team clean up HIA's report, trim the fat, and tuck in its guts. Excuse me. Tuck its guts in. Make it look presentable for our auditors. And this is from Kumara themselves. Data presentability and empirical hygiene. Cerebral Committee. My team and I have finished reviewing HIA's latest experimental report. We believe the failure of this report is manifest in its flagrant disregard for company-approved language. Yeah, I did notice a little bit of that, to be honest. To that end, we have drafted a revised report edited with language consistent with the Spacer's Choice company vision. The HIA's original report mentions clear evidence of dangerous side effects associated... That's the language that shouldn't be used. That's not what I noticed, though. I noticed the ending, but I think these emails don't end. They don't have signatures. Anyway, to that end, we have drafted a revised... Yeah. So the HIA's original report mentions clear evidence of dangerous side effects associated with using the Adrenatime product, including, but not limited to, paranoia, violent confusion, chemical dependency, maybe? And dissident adjacent behavior. If you don't know what that means, you can say something is something adjacent when it isn't the thing, but it is related to. English uses this phrasing very rarely. It's pretty formal, like unless you're being like facetious on purpose, you're making a joke or something. But only like informal scenarios will you see this sort of stuff. So dissident adjacent behavior is behavior related to being a dissonant, but not being a dissident. Because how dare you say something like that? The horribility of that. Anyway, we propose the following connotative. I know what that means. It's related to meaning. Revisions of meaning, basically. Connotative. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway. Dangerous side effects becomes exciting collateral benefits. Paranoia becomes dramatically heightened attention. Violent confusion becomes physically assertive behavior. Who's this from? This is from the Cerebral Committee. That's the smart people. That's what that is. Chemical dependency becomes metabolic compatibility. Wow, that is a twist. Dissident adjacent behavior. Any mention of dissident behavior in this report may encourage dissidents. Recommend cutting this phrase entirely out of respect for our readers, obviously. Oh my god. Oh boy. Anyway, ooh, this guy... No, that's not a hat. That is just a helmet. Potent flavor additive. I don't know what that is. Chemists in the audience might know what that is, but I don't. We need to explore the rest of the stuff, though. But we don't have time for that today. How will we cope? Well, we'll see what we'll do in the next episode. For right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been The Outer Worlds. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and leave a comment. Like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.